Okay, good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
So what brought you out today?
Trail to Bigfoot.
Ah, so you're fans of the channel?
Yes, watch you on YouTube.
Okay, that's awesome. So what do you expect from today?
Gain more knowledge about Bigfoot, maybe?
All right.
Interesting to see the footprints and what information people do have about them.
I said, I feel I know you. I see you on YouTube all the time, and I miss the fact that you used to play the flute.
Oh,
I used to
that's
enjoy
right.
that, the flute or the pan flute, a number of different instruments, and I enjoyed when you did that because that was a cool, a cool input or stimulus that hopefully would create a reaction. But yeah, I miss that. But I enjoy watching you guys every week. And as a matter of fact, I hunt and I hike and I bike in the exact same areas that you guys are in. I was telling Chris, I still haven't found the refrigerator, but I recognize a lot of the areas that you're doing your tracking research in. And
well, you know what that means. We're gonna have to get like this. I can yell a little bit. Okay.
Okay, guys, hey, thank you for coming. I know some of you came from very far away. We really appreciate this, and it's really very, very cool to see the turnout that we got here and the interest in Bigfoot. But so welcome to the Green Swamp Bigfoot Town Hall event. What we're going to do, we're going to have some guest speakers today. We're going to start off, Shelter Bigfoot Teams will start off, but round quickly, we're going to introduce our guest speakers for later today. We got David Picara from Expedition Bigfoot. That's our Bigfoot Museum up in Blue Ridge, Georgia. If you haven't had a chance to go up there, very, very outstanding museum, very good. As you can see, it's from the ISRT team. They are a local research team out of the Central Florida area, and they also have some people that's in various places across North America as well. We also have, he's not here at the moment, we also have covering the Ocala area of Florida, Charlie from the Bigfoot guys. So if some of y'all know him, he'll be coming. He said he had something he had going on with, he got to do an outing with a small child. And he'll explain a little bit more about what he does, but that's why he's a little bit late. He's supposed to be coming in around about 10 o'clock, I think.
He's on his way.
Yeah, so he's on his way. Okay, so some of the things I got to say, although I had a chance to go around and meet everybody already, I don't think we're going to have any kind of a problem at all in the open forum event time periods. We're going to have mostly two, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, where you guys get to share your stories, okay? We're going to have Q&A sessions. Anybody willing to talk can talk. If you want the mic, we'll give the mic. So I don't think we're going to have a problem with, agreeing to disagree, stuff like that. Those are all these things I have to point out, that it's okay to not agree on everything. It's okay to have it wrong, okay? We're all on this journey of discovery process from this side all the way over here to this side. And what I mean by this side being 100%, totally, absolutely flesh and blood. No doubt about it, that's the way it is. And then it turns over here on this side to, oh no, there's much more to it than that. So you got this side as well. So I please ask you to respect everyone's opinions. If you can do that, I think we'll have no problems. Please, no arguing your point, right?
I can't argue my point with you. But everybody thinks Chris and I agree on everything, right? We agree on a lot. So I promise I won't argue, Chris, okay?
All right.
You guys are good, I can tell.
Okay, y'all know from us from the channel, but the two ladies y'all know, all right? That's my sister Betty over here. She likes to stay on the sideline.
I want to say something to, I think, the two gentlemen that traveled the furthest away to get here. Texans. The two Texans. They came from Texas.
All right, and the other lady that's also here on the team, the one that don't speak English correctly. Retired from the U.S. Army, some guys I spent 14 years in Germany. Some people brought home cuckoo clocks. I brought home the woman. I like to achieve things.
See these tables out here? See, Chris and I drug all those tables out there before you got here, and we put them in the German-approved order. Okay? So, and I just tell you, because later on you're going to hear some things from Betty, and they ought to. You got to realize she's German. It has to be orderly, and it has to make sense. So, and we appreciate that.
She keeps us in line.
So when you hear this testimony from her, hopefully, that's good.
Okay, can I get a show of hands? How many of you out there have things you want to share? Had sightings? Anything like that? Raise up your hand. Willing to talk? Anything like that? Let me get an idea. Keep them up, keep them up. You're willing to share, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any more? 6, 7, maybe by 8-ish or so. We're doing that so we can kind of gauge how much time we need to provide you time as well, and so forth and so on. Okay, before we start with our presentation, is there any Florida Bigfoot researchers out there, explorers, whatever you want to call yourself? You're looking for the Bigfoot subject, or you're from other parts of North America and you're a researcher? Could you raise your hand, please? 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 or 6. Are you guys willing to get up here and take some Q&A? Because we want to hear from you too, right? All right, so when we open up, and I see you hiding back there, John. So when we open the floor up for the Q&A part, we would like, definitely, you have an invitation to get on the floor as well to take Q&A or share some things, share knowledge, so forth and so on. All right? Okay, are y'all ready? 2-part presentation we'll do, so let me go ahead and kick it off. Mark, you go ahead and run down. We're going to talk about some things in the Green Swamp. All right, y'all know how the media and everything else like that basically says that, hey, Florida, there's no Bigfoots in Florida. I beg to differ. I'm an eyewitness myself from years back. So, we have the media out there talking things, so forth and so on, but we also have researchers that take from the BFRO, they take sightings, they investigate them. One of these reports that you're going to see was done by David from years ago. All right, it ties in with what I'm going to show you guys this morning. So we got someone right here in flesh and blood that took one of those reports. So these 3 sightings reports that they've had in the Green Swamp, we'll go over them briefly. In the year 2010, pay attention to the months. In September, 2 o'clock. And it comes into your rear obliques the same way, 8 and 4 o'clock. Whatever direction you're going in the wilderness, if something happens or you get an encounter, it seems to be very consistent. And that's happened across North America as well. So what I'm saying to you is that if they're out there and you're out there and they wish to engage or wish to get close enough to have a look at you, you'll hear the activity like that. 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, not necessarily directly dead ahead of you. Okay, all right, so next report. So there you go. He's saying, bro, it's that high. Basically, they saw it when they drove by, so to speak. And they was standing right there doing the little tickle thing. Okay, next one. Everybody got an idea of kind of why Florida is always on the backside all the time, like the whole Bigfooting community thing and everything like that. Do you have an idea or anything like that? Not really. It seems like the researchers. That's the truth. That's the way it's portrayed. It's always portrayed that way. Always like that way. What you're going to see here during our presentation is some stuff about the media as well. We've taken media out in the swamp, and you're going to get an idea of why stuff don't show up on TV. It happens. So we're going to show you that a little bit later on also. All right? Never been shown before or anything like that ever. It's been sitting on my hard drive. Okay, so we're going to show you something here real briefly. It's about 7 minutes long, and it's going to give you an introduction, and we're going to show you the surprise that we're going to reveal to you. All right, Mark, let it rip.
those that we're passing out, this is the original.
Pass them around, please.
Those are the replicas. This one, I don't want to drop. I don't want to drop.
Please pass it
I'd
around.
have to leave the event.
That was taken out of the Green Swamp, December 28th, 2018. Very recently, not years ago. I think Eric's report has justified. Okay? Remember he said, man, that was like 9 or 10 feet tall. It was big. Saw that night.
There's no monkey with a foot like this.
That monkey 10 foot tall.
And if you watch, anybody want to hold it?
By the way, here's what we're going to do with those cats. Okay? Leave them on my right. Here's what we're going to do with those cats. Here's what we're going to do with those cats. One of those cats is going to go to the very first person that drew a ticket. So that person gets to leave with a cast. We'll give one away at the noontime raffle, and we're going to give another one away at the end of the day raffle. Alright? That's your chance to get a Bigfoot print. This Bigfoot print, let me tell you about it. This Bigfoot print took 2 years of dedicated, hard work, daily. Okay? This cast was taken by a friend of ours or he's not necessarily on our team, but he works with us very often, and we're very much in tune with a lot of our work. Okay? That's an awesome print. I personally think that is probably the best print that came out of the state of Florida that I have ever seen. Okay? Also, what we're going to do, one's going to go to the first person that drew a ticket, which is this guy right here. You can get it whenever you're ready to get it. I'll give you one whenever you can have it anytime. Okay. And we're going to also give one to David Picard for the Big Museum. That was good. I was so impressed. Mark and I have seen these things before in the swamp, but a lot of times they're just not castable. I was so impressed with this one, amazingly.
We've seen prints this big, but we couldn't cast them.
Yeah, water, everything.
You got to have, not perfect, but you got to have certain conditions to cast something.
Yep. 19 inches.
19 inches. What is it across, Chris?
Oh, Lord.
I don't know. They got tape measure.
Yeah, but since our substrate is a composite of sand a lot of times, it would be safe to assume maybe that you could probably take an inch off the diameter measurements because of the, where it caves in. But it's huge. Oh, I'd say it's safe for at least 7 to 8 all the way across. Yeah. Okay, so that's the original, so we'll keep that if you want. Yeah. I'll just say this area is still being researched. All right. I'm just going to say it's up on the other side of the swamp, not on this side of the swamp. All right. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because we have people that follow us. All right. We have people that follow us. It gets very, very bizarre out there, and I'll show you some of it. Y'all all remember the vertex correlation video? Did y'all see that?
Yes.
Okay. It got very bizarre on the vertex correlation. We got followed on that one too. So we do have people that follow us. I'm not going to say exact location. The area is still being worked, and we're finding stuff in that area still today. All right. So wish us luck. You might be able to get some more stuff.
When we saw it was interesting. There were other prints on out in the water.
Yes, the person.
It wasn't alone.
Yeah, the person said there was 2 other prints. He also said he found chewed up residue, stuff had been gnawed on, and crayfish. And if you take a look around, all right. So let's give a round of applause for that hard work. I think
If it rains, you could miss it in one day.
Yeah.
It could be there one day, and in Florida, it'll
Yep.
rain, and it's gone, or it's uncastable.
Yeah,
To walk into this kind of a print, it's just,
yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing that we got this in Florida.
I've made some casts on many occasions. Recently, oh yeah, it's here. It's here. I haven't showed you the other one. So if you want to put that back in the box.
Yes, thank you.
The other cast. Hold on. I forgot. You get up here, you forget.
Now we're just picking stuff out of it.
This one was also taken in a separate area of the Green Swamp.
Down there is nice.
It's ugly. But guess what? The large toe and the small toe matches with this one. That just shows you the size. It also shows you there's a bridge. I'm always talking about there. There it is, right there. Right there. That one has it as well. We think it could be very likely that this is the same guy. Now, my research tells me when I dug into that, I won't show you that because it'll just be more time. We're looking at 8 feet, about 6 inches, roughly 700 pounds. My first thought was, how in the world does that thing not get shot by the hunters? That's up for y'all to decide. Okay? I don't know. I don't know how that's not found by hunters. You can pass this around too if you want. I don't care if you hold that. It's made out of, I usually make my cast out of dental stone when I do make a cast. If you drop it, it'll shatter. But it'll take up to like 8,000 to 10,000 pounds of compression.
You know, Chris, I was just thinking, whoever wins these today, I don't even have one. I need to put my name in there. So I could win one.
So when I was up at David Picar's museum for the Florida Skunk exhibit part, I said, "Oh, I got something for David when he comes down, man. Definitely, you can add that to your I think it'll really give it some good credence there."
So
Okay.
also, if any of you want to, later on during the breaks, take a picture with your holding it like this. Isn't that crazy? I
It's
showed
an
my
awesome
son
print.
the picture I had with me holding it like this, and he was like, "Dad, you're out there?"
So y'all can touch them. You can pick them up and hold them all you want a little bit later on, whenever you want. We'll have them over here on the side, so forth. All right. So how was that? Pretty good so far, huh? Yeah.
I need a handle on our neck and just walk around. Because you don't want to, like, I'm over here setting them down, and I was like, I don't want to, like,
In between, from the heel to heel, so to speak. That's right. All right. Any more questions on the print? Okay. Now this next clip's going to be thought-provoking. I want you to be provoked. Everything that you're going to see in this next upcoming video has happened to us. It has really, truly happened to us before. It's bizarre. It gets into a lot of the unexplained. And I want to push you in that direction. I want you to remain open-minded, and I want you to think.
You know, me and my son one time went in the Green Swamp off the road, probably walked in about a half mile, I guess, set up a kind of a bear camp, you know, with some bait. And it was getting dark, so we headed out back to the road, and on the way out, you know, something charged me and the ground was shaking. And I turned around expecting to see something or being pounced on, you know. And I turned around, there was nothing there.
I stopped.
Yeah.
I turned around towards the recorder.
Which is probably recorders. But see, the thing is this. Well, what happens when you finally do experience that? All your idea leading up to that moment was wrong. I mean, what do you know, how do you tell that to yourself? You know? So that's kind of how I see it. I say there's more to it than just flesh and blood. And only because of my personal experiences and Mark's as well. And the rabbit hole is very deep indeed. And you have to be careful how deep you get into that rabbit hole. It is very deep indeed. If you go back to the channel and watch the video, some of you have, if you watch the video, Awesome Activity, after that video took place and what happened to Mark and I think we were the only ones out there during that time, that was a very significant turning point for us. And that, I think, it was the point that we went, away from, and we don't disclose a lot of this stuff publicly, but we're not in the 100% flesh and blood camp no more at all. There's been way too much bizarre, weird stuff happen. It's happened to reporters. It's happened to people that we brought on the trail with us. It's happened to our team members over and over again. Okay, and you ask Betty about the greenery running around. I don't know what it is, but we think there's a correlation. Okay?
I want to talk about that one thing up here where it said Mike. That happened in the very, very beginning. We didn't have a camera. We hadn't even been on YouTube. John, JB told us, JB's back there, he told us, go to this area. So Chris and I got in my Highlander and drove back there. We didn't realize at the time you couldn't drive back there. We didn't care. We just drove back there in the middle of the night. He had built a parabolic. His son was with him, Mike. Mike was with us. I walked quite a ways away. I was probably from here to there, in the middle of the night, and I had that parabolic. I had just started using it. Now, you don't realize when you start the parabolic, everything is just close to you. It may be way over there, but my gosh, in my ears, that thing's right up on me. So I was listening, very inexperienced. I heard it coming. And it was coming through the underbrush. And man, I thought that thing was right on me. Yeah.
That was it, right there. I captured.
And that darn thing said Mike. It mimicked, because it must have heard us talk to Mike, and it mimicked his name. I ran back. I don't consider myself a scaredy cat, okay? Maybe I am. It ran from one palm, just like that, the black silhouette, the shadow thing, ran behind the palm tree. It didn't show very well. I told Chris about it, and I said, I'm going over there. I'm going over there. So we ran over there. Of course, you don't see nothing. You never see. I ran over there. We heard a grunt when we got over there, walked a little bit more, and that's when the knocks surrounded us. One after another, after another, after another. And we just stood there in a triangle. We just stood there. It was getting dark. We weren't set up for nighttime in the swamp. And you just get this feeling of whatever this is, it has surrounded me. And as a man, you don't like that feeling. You don't like being in the swamp and you have a feeling that whatever that thing is, it knows where you're at. Knock, 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 knock. It just went on.
It was 14 knocks.
And 14. And we then realized that the unexplained happened at the same time as the physical evidence, the physical knock. So the unexplained was the black shadow creatures rushing behind the palmettos, the grunt, and then you have the physical knocks. And I realized then that there is something to this that we can't explain. Because you have the physical, and then you have that other thing that you can't explain. If you've watched the videos, that shadow thing that ran was the same thing that I saw tuck and run recently. Anybody watched that video? Anybody at all? That thing that I won't take much more time. Chris and I are walking like this. I look over here. If it had not moved, I would not have seen it. It moved. It just went just like that, down and out, without a sound, without any physical evidence. And you can call me crazy. I'll go to my grave. I saw that sucker, and it went. The same shadow creature that we saw during all the knocks. We see them. They just run faster than you can hardly see.
We went on my first night trip in the swamp, and I was the only female. At the end of what we call the end of the swamp, there's a certain area you just cannot go past that. and he has a parabolic out, and he looks at us and he says, I hear something and I don't like what I'm hearing. Well, when he says the word demonic, I start to panic. I don't like that word.
I just said they were demon voices.
Yes, and I'm starting to panic a little bit, but I wanted to hear it because that's why I'm out here, is to try to figure out what is out there. So I put the headphones on and I hear it, and I hear female voices. Not a man. I don't remember what he heard, but what I heard was female. And it was something you don't want to hear. It sounded like something out of the movies. You're always out there trying to disprove, convince yourself that you're not seeing or hearing what you're seeing or hearing. And the moment I told him, I want to leave, I don't like this, I'm getting a bad feeling. Something, and I know it wasn't Mark and Chris, and I think David, was David out there with
David
us?
was there that night.
Yes, in a row, something yanked my ponytail. I froze. And I didn't say anything to the guys because I was afraid they wouldn't believe me.
I didn't. When
So-
you told us later.
Yeah, so I eventually told them what happened, and of course Chris is like, "Why didn't you say something?" But yes, my ponytail got yanked, and that's when I knew there's something maybe possibly else out there. There was no Bigfoot standing behind me in my ponytail, unless he's invisible. So there's things that we keep wondering what else is out there, what else is out there. But that's just one of many things that physically has happened to us. That's about it.
And then,
What do you do until it finally does happen to you? Were you wrong all the way up to that point?
Our cell phones do.
Cell phones go out. Yeah, the power outages happen all the time. Okay, so before I open up the floor to Q&A and stuff like that, and bring a little bit more people out here to hear your events, hear your stories, we're going to go about 50 minutes. All right. So before I do that, I got to introduce you to somebody. This is Charlie. Go ahead, Charlie. Stand up.
Appreciate you being here. Thank you all for coming out and showing love and support to all of us that you have, because you guys make the difference in sleeping. So thank you all.
This is also going on up there in Florida, Ocala. And also, before I forget, I want to make sure I give Dave a car. I want to give you a cast.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yes,
awesome.
I want to make sure you put it on the side somewhere, stuff like that. So if you come up, please, we'll present it to you. All right, so taken out of the green swamp. Make sure it says green swamp. Taken out of the green swamp, we present this to Expedition Bigfoot.
A good home for this in the skunking exhibit.
That's wonderful. I like that. That's cool. Okay, so is there any quick questions on the video that you just saw? Any questions at all on that? Yes, sir.
Do you feel that Bigfoot has a language, or do you think they just kind of mimic humans?
No, I feel that I've had enough personal experience to say, and I think my other team members will say as well, there is a language spoken. And I say, me personally, I sum it up as in like a Barney Rubble type of it's just.
And we have heard voices turned on to the parabolics. We encountered something that night. We heard something that night up on Bud Mountain, Georgia. I was like, holy cow. The parabolic, guys, is the most important tool you can bring on the trail with you. The parabolic. You will learn more from audio than anything else. Big ones capture deeper sounds. Smaller ones capture more high-pitched sounds. The mid-range is where I prefer.
you got to realize you got to carry this.
You got to carry it, yes.
This is a good, I can carry this a long time.
Yeah.
It's a good size, a good weight.
A good parabolic would cost you about $185 to build, or even more, because the dishes are expensive. They're made out of aluminum, right? So, JB told me where to go. to answer your question, JB told me where to go. We were very, very early in our years. My son was going with me. We went out there. We were at the Hamptons, is where we were. Out there by the lakes. I just told you where to go now. Hamptons, by the lakes. The left lake. On the left side of the lake. I'm going to post this up on YouTube, but it says Mike in a very creepy thing. What we heard that night, we heard something coming up to us, and we had been out to that lake a few times. It came out of the woodwork, kind of directly towards us, and then you start hearing that breathing sound, like whatever it was. You start hearing it in the video. It's being captured, and you hear it going, Mike. My son's name was Mike. Yeah, it mimicked what we were saying to each other. Or maybe he thought Mark was Mike. I don't know, but we heard the footsteps coming toward us that night. It was really, really. So, Hamptons, left lake, left side, be there. Go there if you want to go there. I'm telling you, that spot is interesting too. So I just told you one spot where to go. All right, any more other questions? Yes, sir.
My name's Doug from St. Pete. You hit on something a while ago that I wanted to clarify. You said it was more than. What do you mean? It's more than flesh. There's a lot of theories out there. Of course. She's talking about getting your ponytail. You're talking about getting your camera shut off. That's where I'm going with it. You sound like you're talking about EVP sometimes.
I don't have enough evidence to say with certainty what it is. All that I can tell you is based upon our own personal experience, not just myself, but my team members, that we have encountered something that makes us think that
there is a connection somehow. If I were to not tell you the full story, and if I were to tell you, Mark and I went out to the swamp, we heard knocks, and they surrounded us. And if that's all I told you, a flesh and blood, 100% believer person would say, yes, Chris, that's what they do. They make knocks. But if I told you the first part of the story, where Mark says, I just saw it, just something shadowy looking taken off, we run after it. In the process of running after it, something in the video goes like that. You hear it, it's in the video, not in this particular clip because it's 11 minutes long. Go check it out. We run after it, and then we're surrounded by the knocks, and they make a triangle pattern. All right? Hang on. This ain't never been shown before because it's real data. Real data. This footprint was found near one of them teepees. This one right here. And we think this might quite potentially be the same guy that made that other one. All right, so if you want to go ahead and come up here a little bit later on and check out the locations on there, please keep them to yourself. Don't advertise that out to the whole world. I told you if you came to the town hall, I would share some personal information with you that is not disclosed.
I do not listen to rap music. Sorry, I'm a country girl and old 80s rock and roll. My cell phone starts playing rap music. I had it in my pocket. It was completely shut off. My brother said, whose cell phone is on? And I'm over here panicking, trying to think, well, what is going on? My phone is playing rap music. I look at it. It is on a rap song, completely on, and I know for a fact I shut that thing off. Well, when I explained it to him, he said, okay, it was a fluke. Well, no, maybe a month later.
You got to drew a ticket. Okay? Congratulations, you're going to get a big footprint too. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you. And I got every one of you guys' videos on Facebook. Every one of them. Even where they say, she said something about tire and a bond.
Oh, yeah.
Chris on it.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That was also very interesting that on the playback you hear it, and then on a different type of playback it's not there. Very weird, yeah.
What they could be a smart animal or like a Homo sapien.
y'all's opinions, what would y'all?
My personal evidence, my personal experiences, doesn't really support that. There's something way more to this picture. Now that kind of put your arms around is what we collectively.
It knows us. I told a couple of you out there we were talking. It knows Chris and I. Probably knows Betty and Beata also. And if it chooses to play with you, then you're going to have you're going to have things happen. If it chooses not to, you're just walking through the swamp. And it seems to have abilities that I don't have. It was on the thing, you just couldn't see it very well. I've seen the pixelation. I've seen the cloaking. And I was walking forward. Is that my 10 o'clock? It was walking with us. 3. Boom, boom, boom. Chris and I have an agreement. And you need to know this when you watch the channel. We'll say it, even though we're not sure. If we think we hear something, we'll say it. If we think we see something, even though we're not sure, we'll say it to each other, okay? And so if you watch the whole video, I stumble back because I'm trying to recreate it because your mind says, and you'll find it, something off kilter happens, your mind starts to rationalize it. I'm thinking, is this the sunlight hitting the palmettos? I can recreate this. So I stumble back 3 times and walk forward, back, forward, back, forward. I can't recreate it. So finally, I turn around to Chris and I say, I'm just going to say it. This is what I saw.
Yeah, when he starts that line, I'm just going to say it.
I'm just going to say it. Because we have an agreement that we just say it. Yeah, we just said it, no matter what. And I said it. So I can't do that. A deer can't do that. An ape can't do that.
All right, does anyone have any tests on the stems you'll see gnawing and stuff like that? Now, I do know bears can do that. I do know bears are capable of doing that, and they have done that. But what we see that you guys should be paying attention to is the hearts.
It's literally like something just reached in there and
David was with us that one time. Swamp cabbage is what it's called. I know you got something you want to say. Some of you told me you got some stories, and that's okay. You want to say? You want to share? Go ahead.
Possible it could be telepathic and have the cloaking ability you're talking about.
I've had team members, our team members have experienced the cloaking. I have only seen a few occasions of something not looking right. Oh, the voices for sure, okay? I have not personally encountered mind speak. To this day, I have not. I don't say it doesn't exist. I don't say anything about it. I'm just saying I haven't personally experienced it yet. All right? Deb has been in with us before, and there's someone else here that's been in Colorado as well. Do you remember that night? Can you talk about that night?
When we were all in the camp out?
Yeah, when we went out there and you heard that.
Well, of course, that's the first time I was out, so I got to keep up with the guys. Everybody's back there talking with the guys, and I'm up here with Mark, and we're like ahead of the group. And Mark's going, hey, can you give us a knock? Bang! A knock. Other people didn't hear it in the back. Knocked. We got the whistle.
Yeah, you heard it. I heard it. Mark heard it.
Mark heard it.
Your husband heard it.
My husband heard
Her
it.
husband
It
was
was
there?
not in favor. He still thinks I'm a little crazy, but.
Yeah, he used to be more. He used to be on the trail a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
And another person that's here heard it as well.
And we're talking and walking, and then we hear this like just thump all of a sudden.
Like thuds?
Like it was just a big thud. But
Sounded like something just fell out the tree.
Like a
yeah,
sack.
something big fell off the tree.
I think that was a video too.
And now it's wet in the spot below the tree. It's probably 2-3 inches of water, so you can hear the thud and the splash. You know, me and him looked over, and just as we did, we seen this thing kind of come up like it was catching itself after coming out the tree. And it didn't stand up straight. It kind of stood like this. Never did see the face, just the sides, you know, profile of it. It was kind of over like this, and then it just like I mean, so fast, was just gone. As soon as we seen him, we seen the movement, and it's gone. So,
Smell anything?
no smell. No smell. But, I mean, it stinks out there, period. But there was no, like, you know what they say, skunk smell or anything. And I felt like it wanted us to know it was there, like it was done on purpose. That's the feeling that I got, you know. So he walked down there right after it happened to kind of get where we saw it, to see kind of the height type, you know. I'm thinking it was probably only about 8, maybe 9 at the most foot tall. Not super tall or anything, you know. But, I mean, I've heard stories.
Like Marion, right?
My grandpa said the thing he saw, he thought was like 11 foot tall. But I don't think it was like that tall. We looked for footprints right there where it happened. Nothing, and I think it's because of the water that was there, you know.
Couldn't really get to it because the water over in that area was about 6 inches deep.
Yeah, and walking to Florida.
And it was on the other side of a little creek and very heavy in palmettos and everything.
Yeah.
And when it happened, the palmettos split. And then that's all I seen whenever it happened. It was just right over to the side of it. And the palmettos split and then came back up and you didn't see anything else.
Now, I know you. I know you to an extent.
I'm a little bit of a skeptic about things.
And you're a no BS type guy, from what I can discern from you.
I was looking for hogs and something like that, seeing what it could be. But I couldn't find no hog tracks, I couldn't find anything else. And the hogs that we did find out there were little babies. We didn't find no big ones or anything like that. So it couldn't, I mean, this thing, what I seen go through the bushes, through the palmettos, was at least your size, hunched over. I mean, this thing was big, and then it just gone. Wow.
The dogs are so going crazy, and I like the soil and stuff. I think that's pretty cool. But I mean, you know, Malachi, I mean, he's, you know, when the dog goes off, I think that's a good thing, you know. Yeah, smell. But when you were saying with the knocking, so I mean, periodically through the night, you know, across the spring, you know, I could hear it. But you know, it's closer and closer, and you know, once he started going off, again, you know, the top of the arm is like 8 foot, and I got up and I looked around, and there's a figure, you know, right next to the water, and it was like it wasn't around, it was coming like through the water. You know, it was pretty crazy, and you know, I mean, ever since there, you know, do some research on it, and there's been a lot of sightings out there. I don't know if you guys have ever gone to Wildcat or next to Wildcat, but I don't know. That's my story. I think that's where is it? Buck Lake. I don't know where Buck Lake's at, but like out 40 is like halfway to the out in the middle of the but off to the right, you know, there's Wildcat. If you go about half a mile past that, there's a little. You can't get back there unless you know where it's at, because I mean, there's no signs, there's no anything. There's just a little clearing in the woods, you know. And unless you're from out there or someone showed you, like there, and you have to have 4-wheel drive to definitely get back there. So
kind of a one-way in and one-way out.
One way in, one way out. And there's three little. There's Wildcat big one, and then there's that which is the springs.
Oh, that's interesting. And he said that his boss told him, I can't tell you what I saw. But he says, I saw things that challenge my understanding of reality. And those are profound words, because as you go through this, we have other current law enforcement and past and current armed forces that come to the museum and share things with us that it's frightening. It's very frightening. So when you get to the answer of these things, as you get closer to the answer of what these things are, you have less people that you can tell about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's not because I'm afraid you're not going to believe me. It's because I'm afraid I'm going to scare you. And it's not
just these creatures. And these creatures, what I'm not trying to tell you is that these things are dangerous. That's not what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to tell you is these things are not the only thing in the woods. There are other things out there. Our phone rings off the hook. I have a dogman report I'm working on right now, about 7 miles from my house. The guy's coming down the road, and he sees something laying in the middle of the road, thinks it's a bear, and him and his wife are in the car. This happened, a week ago. As I hit the brakes, they come up to it, it's some kind of a thing where the human body, or the head of a dog, is way bigger than a large black bear. It's in the middle of the road with his rear end, and he stops, he's blinking the lights at this thing. Another car had already passed it. He's beeping his horn, trying to get this thing out of the road. It won't get out of the road. He had to drive around this thing. As they drive around, they look at the body and everything laying in the middle of the road. So this is, 6 nights ago. It's a couple miles from my house. It's not the only dogman report I get. When I first started getting those dogman reports, yeah, okay, take it down the road. That's insane. But when you have law enforcement calling you, telling you have the guns drawn on them, it starts to change your perspective a little bit. So I just want to touch a couple of these things as I was listening to the guys talk. To tell somebody, the lady shaking her head, they know what I'm talking about. So I said, just compose in an email. I'm not expecting anything weird, right? I just want to know what happened. So I said, just put an email, send it to me in the morning. I'll include it in my report. Okay. I get the next morning, there's an email. Ding, ding. Oh, cool. I click on that email. That email changed my life. It changed my frame of thinking. You're 100% right. So the words, not only was he understanding the words, he was understanding the concept. So right, it wasn't like words in his brain. It was telepathic information. I know I hate using that word because every time I use telepathic, it has these terrible kinds. Just like that reason I hate using the word Bigfoot. What a stupid name for this thing, right? Bigfoot and Dogman, those are all stupid. Mothman is stupid name. So it's almost like when you use those words, you're cutting your own tongue off, you know? Because when you use that, especially to a person who doesn't.
You can't contaminate DNA. DNA is DNA. So, things you hear on TV, but some of these things you have to take with a grain of salt. Science has come a long way. We actually got eDNA, which if a Sasquatch out here in this lake were to drink out of it, they can take eDNA, sample the water, and tell you, yeah, there's Sasquatch drinking water out of this lake. And other animals, of course, as we find.
What about the Melba Ketchum study?
Melba Ketchum. That has a lot of good information, but science is not going to touch it because she did not do a journal on it. She didn't present it correctly the way science needs it. The creature could not smell them because the wind was blowing in Roger Patterson's body in space. And
What do you think their chances are? They've got 12 guys with guns, 2 teams of 6. Do you think they're going to find anything?
if they're bringing guns to hunt these things down and it's not for their own protection, you don't want to shoot at these things. The one
that is standard 7 power. So that 7 power, I can't make it any further back. And it was only, as it turned out, we measured the next day, it was only 30 feet from us, which is pretty close. And at 7 power and 30 feet, all I got in my window was his head. So it was extremely close, a lot of detail. And I just started tipping it down slowly and slowly and slowly. And I had probably 15 seconds to study it, which isn't much, but it really wasn't a long time. So I got all the way down to its feet. I got a very good look at its feet, and the one hand, because he was bent over slightly looking under a palm frond, I got the hand down here, which was below his calf. Very, very long arm, huge hand. I even got to see the detail of the fingernails. I got to see just about every detail you could, right from the comb head on down. And I slowly brought it back up, and I'm trying to memorize every little detail. The hair was 3 to 4 inches long. We decided we should go back because tell you the truth, I was wondering whether it was a vivid dream or whether it really happened. It was one of those nights where I didn't get any sleep, but I was just so excited all night. So we went back and we measured around, we measured to the tree, that was 30 feet, everything verified there. We found his height to be 7 feet, but in a bent over position, so I would estimate he was 7'6", right around in that area. A good 3 to 3.5 feet in the shoulders. One hand was around the tree, and the other, like I said, was at his calf. And I tell you, his hands almost looked like footballs, they were so big. And waist was small, I would estimate it, I think we both estimated it, somewhere over 400 pounds. So he was pretty good size. And we looked around, we couldn't do it the night before, it was too dark, we didn't want to go destroying any footprints. So we looked around, and we found prints all over the place, didn't we? I mean, there was the two that were right behind the tree like this, right on a little bit of a slope. So they were right there, we got to see those and measure them. And we found the bunch where he walked up on us and where he went back. And they all turned out to be 14 inches long and 5 inches wide. Unfortunately, it rained the night before, and they weren't passable, but they were there, and the tarsal break showed, everything showed up real well. I was wondering that myself. I didn't see him drop, I didn't see him run. As I pressed the button, he suddenly was not there anymore. Now, take that as you will. I don't have the explanation. It was like I blinked, maybe, and it wasn't there. Like how can anything be so fast? It was interesting.
And on the last night, we sat for, it was a total of like 5 hours. We sat behind these people's houses because the people that were there were saying a lot of activity was just down below the hill behind their house. So we weren't having success doing what we were doing before. We just sat there all night long there. And about 3 hours in, we heard this raccoon doing a little bit of chatter, and then you could almost hear a little baby. And then shortly after that, we heard this, at first I thought it was a hog attack, but it turned out to be a raccoon that was being attacked by one of these things. You can hear the grunts of the Bigfoot as it was grabbing or doing whatever it was, and then you hear the screech of the raccoon, and it goes on and on and on, and finally I'll let the recording go and see, you tell me what you think it was.
Is that a slam?
I can hardly hear it.
Was that a slam?
Yeah, he slams up against a tree.
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, kills it.
Did y'all catch that?
Yeah. You should turn it up louder because you can barely hear the grunts. Just before the raccoon was screaming, you hear the grunt. Yeah. That was really, because those grunts were like, when you were there, those things were like powerful. Where we were at, it was probably about, it went down the hill and then back up on the other side over there, so it flies across there. It was probably, maybe 50, 60 yards, But so it was like we perked right up, wound up staying there 2 hours longer, and all we got was another raccoon coming down the hill. That was about it.
All right, that's awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
Single file, very
making no noise. I could hear their footsteps in the pine straw as they're cutting across. So they're cutting across this row of pines. Now they're cutting through the road directly to my left. Now they're walking directly in front of me. And by that point, I've already reached down and put the safety on my rifle. I think I tilted it so that the line of fire, so they wouldn't actually cross the line of fire. They just continued to walk. They were carrying nothing. They had nothing. They're just walking quietly. They said nothing. They made no noise other than their footsteps. The one thing that I can say that did get my attention that seemed a little odd, their arm swing was perfect, their posture perfect, their shape and dimensions looked like humans other than the fact that they were covered in 2.5 to 3 inch black hair. The thing that seemed odd, they seemed to be high stepping. They were stepping higher than they needed to. The pine straw was probably only 8 inches deep, and it looked like they were either walking through deep water or deep grass. They were lifting their knees really high. It just seemed, that's the only part of the whole thing that seemed odd. But as they're walking in front of me, again, I don't know during non-hunting times. So as I entered the area, it's a long trail, palmettos and wide open, and you get into this swamp, this raised grade, selective raised road that just bisects this swamp. Water on both sides. So I'm entering the woods. I've got my backpack full of cameras. I've got a walking stick. I've got a 10mm Glock on my hip, and I'm ready to go. So head down the trail, get to the edge of the swamp, and beautiful location. Man, this is a great place. It's hardwoods right on the edge of this raised grade. Great place to set these cameras. So I'm going to go ahead and lock them up with the cable lock over the trees in case anybody walks around and wants my camera stolen. So as I entered this swamp, everything's going well. I'm just sort of kind of checking things out as I enter this swamp. And just as soon as I really got into the swamp, by maybe 25 or 30 yards, I had this sensation that I've never had before. I'm like, man, something is freaking me out. It's a beautiful, clear day, sunny sky. There were no trees over me because above, the cypress trees are on the other side. But something was freaking me out. And I didn't know what was going on. I was wondering whether I was having a heart attack or something. And but I was afraid of something that I couldn't see. I didn't know what I was afraid of. And I continued to walk, and I've got one of these watches that check your heart rate. I'm looking at my heart rate. My heart rate's elevated. What is happening here? And as I go, I got to this point where fear just sort of overwhelmed me. I mean, I have to get ready. I pulled my pistol, I racked around into the chamber, and for the first time in over 40 years hunting in Green Swamp, I thought I might have to fight my way out of this situation. Don't know what I was facing, but I was afraid of something that I couldn't see. And as I continued down the trail, I had this sensation that the east was the wrong way to go. Something told me, don't go that way, go this way, go the long way. So I continued down the trail, and I knew it was probably going to take me a mile or two out of the way to get through this swamp and move back in a direction that I hadn't planned to go. I probably didn't even have enough water to do that, but I didn't want to go back the way I came. So as I, again, head on a swivel, pistol in hand, stick in this hand, ready to fight whatever faces me, I'm walking down the trail. I get to this point. Now this trail, as I said, water on both sides. It's a little bit of grass, a little bit of blackberries. It's like a little game trail down the middle of it. It's too narrow for any sort of a vehicle. But I get to a point where, it's sort of patchy sand and whatnot, leaf litter and whatever. I get to this point. I'm on the way. I'm trying to get the heck out of Dodge at this point. But I get to this sandy spot and I look down. It's kind of clear in the swamp this way and kind of clear this way. It looks like it's a crossing point. I look down and there's some really unusual impressions in the ground. I look and it just caught my eye. Again, I'm in a little bit of a panic to get the heck out of there. I look down and it appears as though rectangles, slightly narrow in the middle, almost like hourglass shape, are just in multiple places depressed into this spot, as though you were to tell someone stand in that spot, and they're shifting their weight. And when they finally step away, all you see is the last 2 footprints they left. It's kind of what it looked like. I'm looking at it, like, man, those are impressions. Those aren't holes, those are impressions.
Let him go ahead.
Well, thank you all for coming out today and supporting all of us, and yourselves too, because as anybody that believes in Bigfoot knows how crazy it actually can get. We consider ourselves a new way to Bigfoot. And I'm not going to deceive any of you folks. I feel we've all been deceived enough because people have made Bigfoot to be money, fame, fortune, everything else and other than what Bigfoot should have been. So we're not going to do that to you. I won't lie to you. If you watch our channels, if you follow us, if we go out, and there was an instance where I went out to the woods, this guy kept claiming it's Bigfoot, it's Bigfoot. I was hoping it was Bigfoot, but it was a bear. And I didn't lie to you guys and say, oh, well, it was this, or make it out to something it shouldn't have been. Because I think that's why we haven't moved forward in any of this. These guys, like I said, are great guys. I follow them, I listen to them because I don't have the answers. And until we all come together, including all of you guys, and like I said, no right or wrong theories, and put them all together, we're not going to move forward. We signed a contract, my wife and I started those Ocala Bigfoot tours because of that reason. We signed a contract with the Ronald McDonald House that said, you know what, these guys making $150,000 a year and more off of Bigfoot is ridiculous. They put it in their back pocket, they go on about their day, and they could be doing so much good. So we came up with a deal, and we give 100%. We've got a few here that have taken our tours, and we ask for a $40 donation per person for adult. If you can't afford that, you can't afford that. It's a donation. And that goes straight to the Ronald McDonald House. When a bear is.
It's not a double stripe from the bear.
Chris, is that about 14 inches? Is that?
I think it's like 15 and a half or something.
15's 15.4, 15.5 is like the mean for North America. So.
No bear, no cow.
No. This is another unknown species of ape, and this is what we're working with everybody on right now, including National Geographic magazine. And this was just me and my buddy, who's a detective with FWC that I've been working with. We're out. We thought we stumbled across the Florida panther. And I had seen it a couple times and didn't get a picture. And I said, I'm going to get a picture of this. And we were behind it. And I came around to the side and grabbed this picture. We have another picture that I can't share yet. As soon as we're allowed to, I will. And it's this thing standing up. And my buddy's about 6'2", and it's taller than him. And this is an unknown, as of right now, is an unknown species of ape.
Charlie, is that a photo?
This is a photo.
Something tell from back here.
Hot. We do overnights, and like I say, everything we do, we do the overnights for $150 for 2 people.
Okay.
That's a $150 donation that comes to us and goes straight to the Ronald McDonald House. Or we say, hey, here, call them up, you take care of it, and we take you out. That includes your dinner, that includes everything you needed. Our tours, you don't pull up out of your car and have to bring a bag full of everything. We supply deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, anything needed to where you get out of your car, you're done. You just get in ours and go. Your dinners, we've made lobster, we've made steak. We don't make anything, we're spending out of pocket to put it on. The Bigfoot guys, Ocala Bigfoot Tours, we're also OcalaBigfootTours.com. If you have sightings, whatever, just want to talk, give us a call. So, thank you guys, and I apologize because
Here you get 2.
All right, 2 for 1. Here we go.
Donald Houston. No, Janet Romero.
Did you say your...
Oh, you guys should fire around.
All right. Here you go, the grand prize. It's all yours. That's a wow. It's heavy.
Don't try.
Isn't that nice?